Throughout history, humanity has faced numerous moments where extinction seemed imminent. These critical events, driven by factors like war, natural disasters, and infectious diseases, remind us of the fragility of our existence. This article explores 4 significant events that nearly led to humanity's downfall. The Mace-B False Launch Order Incident. In October 1962, during the height of the Cold War, tensions between the United States and the Soviet Union peaked during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Just 6 months earlier, the U.S. military had deployed Mace-B nuclear missiles to Okinawa. These missiles were capable of delivering a payload 70 times more powerful than the Hiroshima bomb, with a range that covered much of the Asia-Pacific region. During this time in the midst of the Cold War, the United States and the Soviet Union faced the threat of nuclear war, with tensions between the two nations reaching their peak. This environment of heightened tension created a backdrop where mistaken orders could arise. At the time, Okinawa was under U.S. control, and the details of the nuclear missile deployment were not disclosed to local residents. But the bases where these missiles were stationed operated under a 24/7 readiness protocol. On October 28, 1962, Kadena Air Base received an order to launch 4 Mace-B missiles, an order that actually turned out to be a mistake. Understanding DEFCON levels. Nuclear launch orders require DEFCON to be at level 1, the highest state of alert. DEFCON refers to the U.S. military's defense readiness levels, with lower numbers indicating a more imminent state of war. However, the DEFCON level at that time remained a 2. Additionally, the launch order targeted not only the Soviet Union but also other nations, which raised further suspicion, which led to Base Commander William Bassett to question the legitimacy of the order. Typically, nuclear launch targets are clear and specific, and an order to attack unrelated nations was highly irregular. Since transitioning to DEFCON 1 required presidential authorization, which had not been issued, Bassett ordered his team to delay the launch and requested additional confirmation from the command center. What if the launch had proceeded? Had Bassett not acted with caution, an all-out nuclear war with the Soviet Union could have been triggered, potentially leading to global devastation. While Bassett received no formal recognition for his actions, his decision undoubtedly saved countless lives. The Tunguska Explosion. On June 30, 1908, a massive explosion occurred in the Tunguska region of Russia, flattening an estimated 2,150 square kilometers, 830 square miles, of forest, an area roughly the size of Tokyo. Around 80 million trees were uprooted or destroyed, and the shockwave from the explosion circled the globe. What caused the explosion? NASA researchers believe the explosion was caused by an asteroid measuring 50 to 80 meters, 164 to 262 feet, in diameter that entered Earth's atmosphere and exploded at an altitude of 5 to 10 kilometers, 3 to 6 miles. The energy released was equivalent to 15 megatons of TNT, about 1,000 times the power of the Hiroshima bomb. Why was there no crater? One of the most puzzling aspects of the Tunguska explosion is the absence of an impact crater. Scientists theorize that the asteroid disintegrated in the atmosphere, and the resulting shockwave caused the massive destruction observed on the ground. A near miss. If the explosion had occurred just 4 hours later, it would have devastated St. Petersburg, a city with a population of 150,000 at the time. This incident highlights the ongoing risks that our planet faces from celestial threats. The Black Death Pandemic. The Black Death, also known as the Plague, was one of the most feared infectious diseases in history. The disease came in 3 forms: bubonic, septicemic, and pneumonic plague, all of which were highly lethal. The 14th century pandemic. In the 14th century, the plague claimed 1/3 of Europe's population in just a few years. The continent's population plummeted from approximately 75 million to 50 million in a short span of time. Its rapid spread was facilitated by maritime trade, which allowed fleets carrying the plague bacteria to hitch rides on rats aboard ships traveling between ports. The origins of quarantine. In 1377, the Venetian government implemented a maritime quarantine to prevent further outbreaks. Ships arriving at port were required to remain offshore for 40 days before disembarking, a practice that became the foundation of modern quarantine measures. The word quarantine itself comes from the Italian word for 40 days. A turning point in medicine. In the late 19th century, Japanese bacteriologist Shibasaburo Kitasato discovered the plague bacterium, leading to more effective treatments and prevention strategies. In fact, cases of the plague were recorded in Japan several times, but thorough countermeasures kept the damage to a minimum. The history of this disease indeed symbolizes the progress of medicine and the resilience of human effort. The Goldsboro B-52 crash. On January 23, 1961, a U.S. Air Force B-52 bomber crashed near Goldsboro, North Carolina, while carrying 2 nuclear bombs. Each bomb had a yield 250 times greater than the Hiroshima bomb. A narrow escape. One bomb parachuted safely to the ground, getting caught in a tree. However, 3 out of 4 safety mechanisms had already been activated, and the final switch was all that prevented detonation. The second bomb fell into a swamp and became embedded 55 meters, 180 feet, underground, making excavation extremely difficult. To this day, the nuclear warhead remains at that location, and while the site is monitored to prevent contamination, the presence of a nuclear bomb buried underground continues to raise environmental and safety concerns. The importance of nuclear safety. This accident underscores the inherent risks of managing nuclear weapons and the potential for catastrophic accidents if safety measures fail. Conclusion. These events demonstrate that our daily lives are sustained by a delicate balance of chance and human effort. And history proves that humanity has survived countless crises to build the world we live in today. However, the threats of nuclear weapons, pandemics, and natural disasters remain ever present. By studying these historical events, we can better prepare for future challenges and strive to secure a safer world for generations to come.